Yo, it's L. Welcome to The Outer Gamer, your monthly comedic look at gaming news and stories. First up, Spider-Man 2 gets New Game Plus. Now I get they added it to the previous game after it was released, but like they didn't have to do it this time. The game should have had New Game Plus. I don't think I'm crazy for saying that. Like, you added it to the last game, you're using the same engine, like, why couldn't you just put New Game Plus in at the beginning? And it's a short game, too. Like, it didn't take me long to get through it. So it would have been nice to have New Game Plus, but why do things a smart way when you can do things a Sony way? And speaking of developers doing things the Sony way, Kurt Angle's low rating. So the new WWE game came out, and you can play as a tag team of Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon, which then allows you to unlock multiple crimes that you could commit against a female roster. But the thing that really upsets the fan base is Kurt Angle's low rating. He's rated an 89. Guys like Logan Paul are rated at 90. And this is no offense to Logan Paul, but Kurt Angle's rating seems pretty low considering he's Kurt freaking Angle. He won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. This dude should be like max rating. You know what I mean? Hopefully down the line they fix it or allow you to unlock Kurt Angle's most powerful form, Perk Angle. And speaking of heavy drug use on the job, Nobuo Umatsu might not compose full soundtracks for Final Fantasy games anymore. So the guy who wrote all the music from Final Fantasy that you know and love probably isn't going to be doing that anymore. I mean, he did say that he's going to help with the main themes for Final Fantasy games, but he doesn't really have the time or the energy to commit to doing full soundtracks for Final Fantasy games anymore. I mean, I get it, man. It's totally understandable, you know? I don't have the time, and especially the energy, to play Final Fantasy games anymore. Just aimlessly going from one poorly written and poorly acted cutscene to another. Just pressing the X button to get through menus, conversations, combat, really long animations for special attacks and summons. It's tiresome. And you know what's more tiresome than playing Final Fantasy games? Is listening to Final Fantasy fans. But I find if you just put on the Sephiroth theme, they have a Pavlovian response. They start foaming from the mouth, and like the animals they are, they just start running around your living room. But all in all, at the end of the day, I think this is a business tactic. I think he's just saying, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. So when they come around to doing the next game, they gotta offer him more money to come back. It's business negotiations, which we all know is a form of turn-based combat. But speaking of getting older and growing out of childish things, Masahiro Sakurai's work with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate comes to an end. If you don't know who Masahiro Sakurai is, he's the dude that made Super Smash Bros. He also made Kirby. And when asked, why is Kirby's special ability sucking? He responded with, I miss my ex-girlfriend. IGN then rated the statement a 6.9. Homeboy said that now that every character has an amiibo, it officially marks the end of his work with the game. It's unclear whether he's going to direct the next game, and, well, it's unclear whether there is going to be another game or not. For all we know, there could just be Super Smash Bros. Vs. Marvel. I doubt it. But speaking of things meeting their premature end, the PlayStation 5 is nearing the end of its life cycle. So the PS5 came out in 2020. There were supply issues, scalpers, and most people didn't really get the console until 2023. And I don't know, I feel like it's too early to talk next gen. I know they say it's each console generation now is like 7 years or whatever, but like, I felt like the PS5 didn't really peak. You know what I mean? It's a lot of the games at first, like God of War and stuff, also had a PS4 release. and even Spider-Man was on PC. I know those games and a few others did sell consoles, but it didn't feel like we had that really big console exclusive hit. And it didn't really feel like we got any instant classics or anything. It's just, I don't know. It just feels like it's just too early to move on. Like, where are all these big PlayStation 5 games? Like, the stuff that makes you want to actually sit down and play the PlayStation 5. Like, there's not really that many. But, I don't know. Maybe it's because I play Baldur's Gate 3. And games nowadays just seem like amateur hour at the Apollo. And speaking of Game of the Century, Larian Studios is working on mod support for Baldur's Gate 3. Also, a huge patch is coming out for the game. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Now, of course, the Game of the Century had to be made by the developer of the century. See, normally here at Outer Gamer, I like to make jokes at others' expense. But when a game like Baldur's Gate 3 comes out, I think it should be praised. And the developers should be praised as well for their hard work and their dedication to making a game like this. Especially when most of the time, especially AAA studios, they put in like the least amount of effort to make games. Like half the time, the games aren't even finished when they're released. And it's sad that a lot of people still play these games, buy these games, pre-order these games, knowing that they're getting some unfinished mess. I don't know, sounds weird to me. But let me know in the comments which Baldur's Gate 3 character you'd like to kiss the most, and why it's Karlach. And speaking of women doing dirty things, streamer fakes blindfolded speedrun. So this girl faked being blindfolded, which is, I guess, better than faking being blind. Abisoft and Carl Yosp, in their videos, they go into more detail about it, and just like everything else I talked about, there's always links in the description. Go check out their videos, especially the one where Carl has his shirt over his face and he's juggling. But the streamer didn't really do anything that blindfolded speedrunners usually do. She was positioning the camera, which, if you can't see, why are you doing that? But if I was her boyfriend, I would definitely punish her. And I would do so by faking my orgasms, because that is what equality is all about.